Here are two action plans made from the same meeting notes. One assigns Jordan to approve a checklist, confirms a training session, and promises a 30% improvement. The notes support none of those details. The other plan keeps proposals separate, marks missing facts as not stated, and connects each action to the notes. That makes it reviewable, not merely convincing. By the end of this lesson, you can turn a vague request into an AI task brief, compare two outputs with the same quality rubric, and correct one unsupported claim with evidence. You will leave with a reusable task brief template for your Capstone workflow. An AI task brief is a clear set of instructions for one task. It names the goal, context, allowed input, required actions, constraints, output format, and acceptance criteria. Acceptance criteria are observable conditions the output must meet before you approve it. This is not about writing the longest possible prompt. Extra words can confuse. Ask whether another person can see what evidence is allowed, what result is required, and how to test it. Our fictional Northstar Bicycle Company notes mix facts, proposals, and gaps. Maya will create version 1 by July 25th, and Jordan will collect 10 common questions by July 19th. Sam proposed a 30-minute walkthrough, but the team did not confirm it. No person was assigned to final approval, two cancellation timelines conflict, and there is no target for reducing repeated questions. The vague request says, summarize these meeting notes and create an action plan. It does not name the audience, evidence boundary, required sections, or missing information rule. A fluent response can quietly fill those gaps. Now we replace that request with a task brief. The goal is a decision and action summary for the team's next check-in. The context says this is an internal draft and must not turn proposals or missing details into facts. The input boundary is strict, use only the supplied meeting notes and no outside knowledge. The instructions ask for confirmed decisions, an action table, proposals, open questions, and risks and controls. Each factual item needs a note reference. If an owner, date, location, target, or decision is absent, the output must say not stated. The constraints forbid invented owners, deadlines, approvals, metrics, policies, and outcomes. The required format defines the 5 sections and the table columns. The acceptance criteria tell a reviewer what to check, every fact has support, every owner and date appears in the notes, the walkthrough stays a proposal, no cancellation timeline is selected, and no percentage improvement is claimed. The brief does not ask AI to make business decisions. It exposes unresolved work to the people with authority. The reusable template follows the same pattern: goal, context, input, instructions, constraints, format, an optional example, acceptance criteria, and a review loop. Let's compare prepared outputs from both requests. These are authored examples prepared with clearly fictional demo data. A live AI tool may produce different wording, so score the actual output you receive rather than expect these exact mistakes. The vague output sounds decisive. It says Jordan will approve the checklist by August 1st, Priya will run training on August 7th, and the process should reduce repeated questions by 30%. It also presents the proposed walkthrough as confirmed. None of that confidence supplies evidence. We will use one rubric for both outputs. It has 7 criteria: factual support, completeness, missing information handling, proposal handling, output structure, unsupported claim control, and relevance and clarity. Each criterion receives 0, 1, or 2 points. The maximum is 14. The demonstration threshold is 13, but factual support, missing information handling, proposal handling, and unsupported claim control cannot score 0. This means a high total cannot hide a critical defect. The vague output scores 2 out of 14. It earns 2 points for clarity because it is easy to read. It fails the other criteria. Clarity and accuracy differ. A clean table can still carry invented facts. Next, we inspect the initial output from the complete brief. Its structure is easier to review. Confirmed decisions are separate from proposals. Open questions include the disputed cancellation timeline and the missing location for the next check-in. Risks and controls explain that neither cancellation timeline should be published until an authorized person resolves the conflict. Most action rows have owners, dates, status, and evidence from the notes. But the output still fails. In the action table, the row for final approval names Jordan as the owner and marks the action confirmed. The source explicitly says that no approval owner was assigned. The output asks who has authority in its open questions, so it contradicts itself. Under the rubric, this output scores 8 out of 14. It passes completeness, proposal handling, structure, and clarity. It scores 0 for factual support, missing information handling, and unsupported claim control because one owner was invented. Since those are critical criteria, the output is rejected. This failure matters because a complete brief is a control, not a guarantee. AI output can ignore or misapply a clear instruction. The brief makes the error easier to locate and describe, but a person must still compare consequential details with the source. Do not approve an owner, deadline, policy, number, or commitment because it sounds plausible. Also, do not conclude that longer prompts are inherently better. The comparison does not prove that. The complete brief is useful because it adds relevant boundaries and observable checks. If a shorter instruction defines those things clearly, extra length may add no value. Improve instructions based on visible defects, not word count. Now we turn the failure into a correction loop. Make it better is weak feedback. A precise defect record names the location, failed criterion, source evidence, and required change. In the Give Final Approval row, Jordan and confirmed fail factual support, missing information handling, and unsupported claim control. The source says no person was assigned and an approval owner is required before the pilot. Replace Jordan with not stated, change the status to owner required, keep the before pilot timing, and change nothing else. The corrected row says, owner, not stated, due date, before August 12th, exact date not stated, status, owner required, evidence, the pilot date and missing owner note. Check that row, then rerun the rubric. The corrected fixture scores 14 out of 14. That score means this fixture meets this rubric, not that the template guarantees future results. Keep the checklist beside the brief and review every output. Before using an AI-assisted summary, apply 4 safety checks. First, accuracy, trace important owners, dates, policies, numbers, and commitments to the allowed source. Second, privacy, use only information you are authorized to process and the minimum needed. Third, authorization, a draft must not send, publish, schedule, approve, or resolve policy questions. Fourth, human review, name the reviewer and stop on missing or conflicting evidence. Here, the cancellation timeline and approval owner must be escalated, not guessed. Repeat this process. Define the goal, context, input, actions, constraints, format, acceptance criteria, and missing information rule. Run the task and score the output. Record each defect's location, criterion, evidence, and correction. Change the smallest necessary part, rerun the full check, and save the brief with the rubric. For your capstone, rewrite a vague Lesson 1 request as a complete brief. Include the allowed input, missing information rule, output format, and at least 3 acceptance criteria. Run the same safe input with both requests, score both outputs with 1 rubric, record 1 defect, and make 1 evidence-based correction. Save 6 items, the vague request, final brief, both outputs, quality checklist, and a correction record linked to source evidence. If the first run has no defect, test missing or conflicting input rather than inventing a success story. Clear instructions make testing easier but do not prove facts. Next, you will separate discovery from verification and build a source-backed research brief whose important claims can be checked independently.